How does public policy on drugs, gangs, and violence impact women in the community? Well, policy has been to be tough on crime, and this leads to more people being put in prison. And the women prison population has been expanding 1.5 times faster than the men's prison population. And when women go to prison, more families are destroyed because women are more likely to have children living at home with them when they're arrested, and only about a third of these kids end up going to live with their fathers. 1 in 10 go into foster care, and the rest are raised by a family member, most likely grandparent. We've got 1.5 million kids in this country who have a parent in prison. There's more kids born into prison parents every day, because 1 out of 25 state inmates and 1 out of every 33 federal female inmates coming into the system are pregnant. There's only 13 states that have laws that protect these women from being shackled, which is a traumatic experience when they're being taken to jail, and especially when they're giving birth. Their newborns are taken away from them immediately. In 1997, Congress passed and President Clinton signed the Adoption and Safe Families Act, which gives the state the right to start termination of your parental rights when your child has been in foster care for 15 out of the last 22 months. Most women have to do more than 2 years in prison, so they end up never seeing their babies again. I gave birth to my daughter while serving 6 months in the county jail. I was 2 months in. I was really lucky that I was in a county jail. I had work release. The jail was really afraid of being sued or of hurting me in some way, so they really were very lenient, and I was very lucky. I wasn't restrained. I didn't even have a police officer at the hospital with me when I was giving birth. My doctor got me a medical furlough. I got to go home and spend 6 weeks with my child before I had to go back and serve the last 4 months of my sentence. And when I went back, because I work release, the jail let me have contact visits. I got to go sit out in the lobby and hold my baby for a half an hour every week. And luckily for me, she was with family, and it was important to them to bring her to see me. After I had my second child, though, I ended up going to prison. And like most people in state prison, I was over 100 miles away from home. Federal inmates are usually over 500 miles away from home. Half of the mothers in prison never get to see their kids, and a third of them never even get to talk to them on the phone. This is destroying families. These kids are in foster care, being raised by grandparents, and they have no contact with their moms at all. And now when these women get out of prison, they face the same problems that men face, with probation and parole, not being able to find a job, being discriminated against for housing, and for all kinds of things. Plus, if their kid is in foster care, they have to start the whole process of proving that they're good enough to get their kid back. And if they're lucky enough to actually succeed in getting their kid back for a period of time afterwards, they have a social worker who's constantly involved in their life, second-guessing every decision that they make, and with the threat of taking that child away again. Half of the women going into prison admit to being sexually or physically abused, and 3/4 of them have symptoms of a mental illness. I believe that it would be much more effective if we gave these women a trauma-based treatment. But if we do have to send them to prison, and whether we send them to prison or treatment, we need to keep these families together, these women together. As of 2010, 9 states, including California, have programs with prison nurseries where women who are pregnant going into prison and give birth can keep their babies with them for up to a year. And not only does this help with the child and keeps the child from falling into the system themselves, but it keeps the mother from reoffending. The recidivism rate is considerably lower for women who are allowed to keep their children with them when they give birth to jail.